And started doing the dance moves as soon as I could, walk properly. and then quickly my walls were plastered with, images of Michael, and he was just this absolutely incredible, otherworldly figure to me that I wanted to be just like and I dressed like him every day and did my hair and had my hair permed to look like him, and all that stuff.
I wasn't a huge fan before.
So the one who was just talking, I believe that's the guy who was in the Pepsi commercial with Mike.
Met him, and then when I got the commercial.
No, okay, it was him. He was the one with the commercial. Okay.
They
The
did
Pepsi commercial.
Yeah, the Pepsi commercial. They did this
That's
thing
him.
where they would say every day that Michael's going to show up, but it was always his stand-in. So actually, in the commercial, when you see me meet him, is actually my first time seeing him, and at that point I was pretty excited, and so it was otherworldly, I guess.
Yeah, that was, it was one thing to meet him the first time when I was 5, and I ended up dancing with him in his show. He asked me to dance with him in the show the next night, and that was incredible. And we had a 2-hour hangout the next day with my mother in his hotel room. That was a whole nother level. Then we didn't have any contact for a couple of years, and then I met him again when I was 7. And this is when the, so-called friendship began. Here I was, this little boy from Australia, who I was so enamored by him, so in love with him, such a huge fan. And now, within the first day or so, he's telling me that we were brought together by God, that we were meant to be together, that he wanted to be my friend, and he thought I was amazing. He thought I was so talented, and he thought I was so sweet, and he wanted to spend all of his time with me. So this feeling of being, the chosen one, out of all the kids in the world.
You had to feel very special about that way.
All right, so at this point, like you either gotta believe this guy is just capping and he just going on with the script of Sony or Illuminati or the government, whoever, or you gotta believe he's just recalling actual events. Like, how do you determine? Continue.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you, James?
Yeah, he's just quickly, very
So this is James. This is the guy who was in the Pepsi commercial with Mike, the little boy.
likable and engaging and gives you focused attention.
You know what that is.
And he's disarming. He's a charming guy, and so you instantly feel very comfortable with him. So that sort of bond and friendship develops quickly, and then he does start saying, "You're talented, you're special."
And him, the first night or so, teaching me the moonwalk, and so all these things that had been so surreal and from another planet on TV were now a part of my life. And Michael Jackson was my best friend, as he said.
He told you he would call you his best friend?
Yeah, within the first,
So
day or
now another crossroad is that you either got to believe these guys that Mike is a professional molester, where he know how to disarm his victims and make them feel comfortable with him to accept all of his actions, or you got to believe the opposite, where he might just love kids and he just, because he didn't have much of a childhood, he just likes to hang with kids. So it's really it's a real fork in the road. You dig? Anyway, let's go.
Did you feel like the best friend too, James?
Oh, for sure. It
Come on.
was very much you and him. Sort of against the world, kind of feeling. So yeah, you were very much best friends.
Did you two know each other as children?
No.
Were you aware of each other as children?
I had seen the Pepsi commercial
Yeah.
that he was in. So I remember even seeing that commercial was like, that could be me, or that should be me. And I
So
wish that
was a good question, because it's showing you that these guys didn't know each other. So any like conspiracy theory where it's all the plan of the government, like he's saying, I didn't know this guy. You could believe him or not.
was me. But the only time I ever remember meeting James, or a couple times, was a little later when I was about 9 on the music video of Jam, Michael's Jam music video, which I danced in. And James was there with Michael as well, and we met then and hung out a little bit.
How do you go from Michael Jackson is an idol, we're friends, to now that friendship changes to what? How and when did it change?
So, the intense friendship with Michael started when I was about 7. Over the next 2 years, I still lived in Australia, and Michael would bring me out multiple times through those 2 years to spend time with him. So when we met the second time, when I was 7 years old, Michael invited us to Neverland that weekend. I think it was a Friday that we met initially. Talk about another planet. I mean, this was just the most magical thing I'd ever seen. Flowers.
It's gonna be a little slow. I know something in the background, but we did. Oh, shit. Give it a moment. Give it a moment. This catching up. I got some background stuff going on. That's why it's taking. It's loading. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me end the background stuff. Let's just focus on this. Okay, it'll play right now.
Statues and lights and trees. It just
Ferris wheel.
yeah, just incredible. And that first
So
night,
these are two accusers of Michael Jackson. Two boys. This is a guy from Pepsi commercial. This is a guy he won a dance contest. Michael Jackson, I guess, was a judge, or he sponsored the dance contest.
Michael, he kind of took us on a little bit of a tour, and he said to me and my sister, you can stay in one of the guest rooms, or you can stay in here with me if you want. And my reaction was, of course, I want to stay with you. And I think we all just kind of knocked out at some point.
Now, the tricky part is us regular folks, that's a red flag. A grown ass man when to sleep with a little 7-year-old. But there's context to it. But I'm just saying, us general folks, us regular folks, that's a red flag right away. It's like, why would a grown man want to sleep with a little girl or a little boy? It's just weird.
Nothing particular happened that night.
And put any questions you got in chat, any information you think you got in chat, go ahead and put it in there. You did, put it in there, and I will corroborate it if it's true or fact. I'll let you know. I know y'all ain't doing no research like me.
We had one more night that way, and then the plan was the Monday that myself and my family were going to leave and go on another kind of vacation to the Grand Canyon. I was devastated to leave Michael. Michael was devastated for me to leave. He actually sobbed in front of me.
So you got to stay.
So I got to stay. And so it was just Michael and I in Neverland for the next week. And
your parents allowed that?
My parents allowed that, yeah.
Okay, so that's a mistake for Mike. In his right mind. Mike in his right mind, that's a mistake. Mike in his, I didn't have a childhood. I'm a child in a sense because of, how Mike was raised by Joe Jackson and Katherine Jackson. He didn't have much, it could kind of make sense because a lot of us know grown adults who are missing something and they just have a genuine love for kids. And that's why this is tricky, because Mike could certainly be that person, and it seems like he is. And then at the same time, it's like, we also know like normal grown men don't want to sleep or be alone with young children, you dig? Because we are, Chester aware, you dig?
And then within either...
But I will say this though, if it wasn't Michael Jackson, anybody else, the public would have been like guilty. So that's the advantage Mike had, is how he was like worshiped. He can't do no wrong. It's like Trump with Republicans. He could do no wrong.
The first or second night of Michael and I being alone at Neverland, the night started changing. And one of the ways I remember it starting is, Michael just sort of starting to touch my legs and touch my crotch over my pants, and then it kind of kept progressing from there. He would grab my hand and have me do the same thing to his crotch over his pants, and then it progressed to him performing oral sex on me, him showing me how to perform oral sex on him.
All right. So this is another crossroad. Listen, family. This is why it's hard to get like jurors, because especially with public figures, famous people, because some people like they don't want people in the jury box who have a love and fascination for this person, and they also don't want somebody who hates this person. You dig? It's really hard. It's really hard because when you love them, you're going to excuse all of their actions, and if you hate them, you don't care if they are innocent. You're going to say, "Oh well, you're like," and you're going to probably rule unfairly. So it's like really difficult. So what he's saying is like is deep, is deep. So to just dismiss it as, oh, he's lying, I mean, you really got to go down a rabbit hole of all these conspiracy theories. And but at the same time, for it to be true, for it to be true, like Mike would eventually be found guilty with somebody else because once you go down this sick path as an adult, you don't stop. There's no stop button. So if what he's saying is true, then Mike should have as many victims as Bill Cosby and Epstein and Arquette. So it's like tricky. It's like really, really just split. It's really 50, it's 50-50. It's like, damn, like what? Which, because it's like evidence for both sides or circumstantial evidence for both sides. It's really hard to call this.
Him showing me how to French kiss.
Said Breeze said FBI investigated Michael Jackson for 11 years. Ain't that right? Right. So that's one for Mike. He says go listen to the paralegals. I already did all that. Bill Cosby also railroad. Yeah, I mean, I might do Bill Cosby next. But you're right about FBI investigated and they found Michael Jackson clean as a whistle. You did, and I agree. Like they went through his phones and computers looking for child molestation or child pornography. I'm sorry, they went child pornography and came out short. So if Michael Jackson is this creep that they are testifying to, then creeps are going to have sloppy evidence. They're going to have child pornography in their phones and computers. Because if that's what they're into, they're going to be into it. Like it's us. Like I'm a regular heterosexual human being. Man, if you go through my YouTube or social media or web browser, you're going to see heterosexual images. You dig? That might not be, nice in public. It might be girls shaking or Pornhub.com, whatever. But you're going to find that because heterosexual man. So if Mike is indeed what they're claiming him to be, you would expect the FBI, like Sad Breeze says, 11 years investigation to find something. And he's right. They found absolutely nothing. They found absolutely nothing on Mike. But it does not stop there. Because there is some questionable stuff on both sides. There's questionable stuff on people who are pro Mike, and there's questionable stuff for people who are anti Mike. There's questionable stuff that we need you to answer to. If you're picking a side, then you need to answer to certain things. They're going to come up. Just bear with us. Bear with me. They're going to come up. But yes, he's right. The FBI has found absolutely nothing on Michael Jackson. He doesn't have any record of, molestation or child pornography, and which is odd if you're claiming this guy is a child molester. Child molesters normally have these things, so the FBI know what to look for, and they didn't find that with Mike. They're looking like, wow. I mean, these guys' testimonies sound like they're real. The allegations sound real, but he's not. His behavior is not comparison to those who would be guilty of this. So it's like everybody confused, like, what the hell's going on here? You dig? So let's go.
Squeeze his nipples.
Did you know what was happening? Did you think that that was inappropriate? Did it scare you? Did you think
Yeah,
it
we're
was
gonna touch on the bedroom because Macaulay Culkin did say it was a two-story bedroom. So yeah, so that's interesting because you say the bedroom might technically the two-story will be his bedroom. So it's like the question should have been asked, like, where in the bedroom? But even then, like if a kid sleeps in a bed with Mike, that does not equal molestation. You did just because you slept in the bed. Like still, if they were actually in the bed, that's not a guilty verdict. You did that's not evidence of guilt. But yeah, but his bedroom. This is Michael Jackson. He is the richest entertainer ever. So his bedroom is going to be very large. Again, Seth Breeze is right. So it sounds weird until you get specific questions. And it's funny how nobody asked where in the bedroom and nobody asked how large is the bedroom. Macaulay Culkin had to come out and tell you how large the bedroom was. He did, because we look at it as our bedroom, because we some broke people. So we look at it like, hey, one bedroom. Nah, Michael Jackson bedroom is big as your house. Middle class house. So that's a good point for Seth Breeze.
wrong?
The couple days prior,
Yeah, so Wade Robeson went broke. I wondered what happened with him. But hold on, let me finish. Yeah. So what you're saying is correct. There is motive. There is, when I researched this thoroughly, there is motive to want to bring down Michael Jackson for different reasons, not just for as many different reasons each accuser had to bring down Mike. They're all different. They're not all aligned as one global conspiracy. So that's what people mess up at when you make it one global conspiracy, as my boy DJ Focus did. But if you just handle each accusation by itself and look at the motive to bring down Mike, it'll make more sense. But if you look at it as one conspiracy, just take out Mike, that's not gonna work. Okay, so what he's saying is right. But listen, you see all these tabs up here. So there's more. There's more. So I'm just playing these guys' testimony. This is the longest video you're gonna watch. Everything else is short.
to the abuse starting.
Oh, they filed bankruptcy. I didn't know that.
Michael had already started he started touching me, just in the sense of like hand on my leg, lots of hugs, kissing my forehead, rubbing my hand.
So what he's testifying to with Gail Sayers, so Seth Breeze, you got to be calling him a liar. Actually, both of them. Like you got to be saying, hey, they're both lying. And it is suspicious. And listen, I'm with you, bro. Like I said, I researched this to the bone. You did, and tooth and nail. And it is interesting. These guys here now, at the time that they're testifying to Gail, I'm saying Gail Sayers. I'm talking about the NFL, the Chicago Bears Hall of Famer. But Gail, I think her name Gail. Whatever her last name is Gail. Right. So it is interesting to pick now, but at least for him, to pick now to come out and make these claims is a bit odd, at least for this guy in particular. Okay. For him in particular to come now and say what he's saying is odd. And as Seth Breeze said, he's broke, he's a failure as a choreographer, and so that is a motive. Gail King, there you go.
There'd been this kind of development of physical closeness that was happening already that felt like a father, just felt amazing. And strangely now, for me looking back at it, when it went to the next furthest extreme of sexual contact, something about it felt like just the next step. And
so now, okay, so you would have to, Seth Breeze would have to call him a liar. But the question that some of us have might say, why is a 7-year-old with Michael Jackson, a grown ass man, for a whole week. You did alone, but not really alone because Mike is Mike, so he has a bunch of staff, he has a bunch of security, so they're not alone like a haunted house alone. They got people there, but he claims that Mike told him to never speak to his employees. So you cannot. So the lesson from this is do not put yourself in that position. Do not put yourself in a position to be alone with a kid that you're not related to and you barely know that's 7 years old for a whole damn week.
Really quickly, as Michael started doing these sexual acts, he started talking to me about, you know, God brought us together. We love each other, and this is how we
love each other.
We love each other, and this is how we show each other our love.
So the way he's explaining it, like some of us can understand what he's saying because like predators are good at what they do. You think about some of the popes who were found guilty of this, you know, or not found guilty because they've never been arrested, but found guilty in their own church, right? Been exposed in their own church, and they had to be removed. Like these popes, they had to be as just as, you know, charming as he's claiming Mike was, right? So predators, when they try to get kids, you have to be charming because kids naturally going to not want to deal with you. Kids don't like strangers, so you have to like be charming to like win a kid's trust. So what he's saying, he's describing Michael Jackson's charm. Okay, how's my audio? Naturally going to not. All right, audio not bad. Let's go.
And then right away, the next part of the dialogue was, but if anybody else ever found out about any of this, you and I would go to jail for the rest of our lives. And we'd be pulled apart. Our lives would be over. Our careers would be over. We can't let that happen. We've got so much to do together. We've got to rule the world together.
Were you frightened by the
So
actions?
from us watching for the first time, it seems like he's like really calling. It's like it seems like he's recalling real events. So again, if he's lying, that means this is all scripted.
Or his words?
I was not frightened by the actions.
You were not. You did
No.
not think, this is creepy, don't
No.
touch me,
No,
this is wrong. You didn't think any of that.
No, I didn't think any of that. It was out of all.
Well, allegedly, Evan Chandler had Jordan Chandler live. That's alleged. They're, gotta be careful.
The kids in the world.
Right.
Here I am. And Michael chose me. And he also told me that, I've never done this with
Right.
anybody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
James, you're nodding in agreement to what he's saying.
Yeah, all this.
The
all-
conversation. Tell me what happened to you as you're listening to what Wade is saying. It clearly seems to resonate with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's all the same. He did the same thing to me as well. He introduced me to masturbation, and then
All right.
then
So this is the Pepsi Cola kid that was with Michael Jackson. So again, you got to understand what you're saying when you say they're both lying. This is a big conspiracy with these two involved now. Like they joint efforts. They join efforts, and now they're into this conspiracy together. And they're recalling fake news because this didn't happen. This is all made up.
start kissing, and I'm on tour, so we're together 24/7, and it's happening over a period of time. And then you're kissing, and he said I taught him how to French kiss. And then it moves on to oral sex. It's like, can I kiss it? That kind of thing. That's what it starts with. But it's
Are
not.
you frightened or thinking this is weird or wrong?
No, it's
Long
in the
estimation.
context of a loving, close relationship. So
Or special friends?
yeah, there's no alarm bells going off in your head or any thoughts like that. Really, it's just I love.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. MJ could have said many things because I do that today. Like I will watch 10 different videos from 10 different people, right? 10 different authors of the video. And often I will come more here and I will say like just now, I said Gail Sayers. It wasn't Gail Sayers, it was Gail King. So that's normal for some, especially for so long ago. But even a little kid, it's normal to recall something out of context. Yeah, I agree with that.
Love this person and
Yeah, because Mike could have said all this, but that don't mean he was saying in a sexual, context. He could just, like you said, at the zoo or looking at the sky, at the clouds, whatever. It doesn't mean like they look gazing in each other's eyes, crying and shit.
we're trying to make each other happy. And
Let me speed
he
this
said
up.
I was his first.
You dig?
But even as a kid, you don't even know what that means. You don't even question it further than that.
Yeah,
know,
you don't say
still-
your first what?
Yeah, first what, right?
Yeah.
As an adult, you'd think
Yeah.
that, but as a kid, you're just like, oh, that's great. And you're special, and as well as we're not gay. We just love each other, and this is how you show your love.
He would say to you, "We're not gay."
Yeah.
Did you even know what that meant as a little kid? We're not
Actually,
gay?
yeah. I mean,
You did.
as soon as the abuse started, I had this question of, does this mean I'm gay now? That when the abuse started on tour?
All right. So, Sabri, how you feel about that? How you feel about these guys got to be conspiring together to bring down Mike? And who would be the persons or organization that's getting these guys involved together to lie on Mike for financial gain? I want your opinion.
Where did these things happen, and where are the adults who are supposed to be watching you?
Right. So for me in the beginning, there was those first couple nights in the bedroom with my sister. Once she was out of the picture was when things changed, right? And my parents were now, and my grandparents left for that next week at Neverland. So for that first week of abuse, they were in another, part of California.
And what about Michael's staff?
Well, the staff are everywhere. Not in the room as
Yeah.
abuse is happening, but before and after and around, and there's maids and there's cooks and there's security guards everywhere.
And none of them appear to be concerned that
Yeah, but the kid got 22 million in 1994 though. You did. The guy on the left side, on our right side, I'm sorry, the guy on the right side, he testified for Mike. So 1994, the kid, that's when Mike settled for 21 million. 22, 23, I heard different numbers, but all the same ballpark. 21, 22, 23. Okay, but that was not 94. Okay, so then Mike had another case, and what this kid on the right side of us, when they show them both together, he testified that Mike didn't. He's cool. He don't touch kids. That was 2000. That was Mike's 2005 trial, right? So now, so my point is, he's seen the kid win the money in 1994. That was the only kid on record to win a settlement against Mike. No other kid has done that. Never again, not even today. So if that was the motive, then why he testified on Mike's behalf in 2005 and not against Mike if he wanted that bread? Why would he wait? I don't know when this was. This is 2017? No, 2019. So why would he wait? Let's say 17. Why would he wait like 20 something years? Big.
in the room with him?
No,
No?
not that I witnessed.
James, where were the adults?
So when you're there, there's nobody else there. And on tour, my mom would stay in a different room, and I was
Yeah, I know about the kid, father. We can get to that.
in Michael's room the whole time. At Neverland,
circumstantial,
he
though.
kept us away, or kept me away from the maids. So when they come around, you kind of try to go away. And I was
Just on that point, that was always a thing that I remember from the beginning. Michael always saying, "Do not talk to any of the staff.
for sure.
Not allowed to have friendships and talk about anything we say, anything we do."
He said, don't talk to staff, which a predator will say.
Yeah, and even on tour, to go off that, if somebody else talked to you, he would notice, and then he'd question you. What did they say? What do they want? And he makes you fearful of talking to other people. And there's, when you're on tour, everybody's wanting to talk to you and
Right.
ask you questions. But
At what point did you all start to think that this is wrong? Was there ever a point that you started thinking this is wrong?
While the abuse was going on, so the abuse for me went from age 7 to 14 years old. I do remember when I was about 11 or 12, as I would see him less frequently, and then when I would see him, it was still just kind of back to the old business, right? As soon as possible, as soon as we could get into a private space, if he wanted to do all the sexual stuff again. I remember feeling around 12, starting to be a little more uncomfortable about that, and sometimes maybe trying to change the subject or, distract, but then having a fear that if I don't do this, I'm already feeling like I'm not a favorite of Michael's anymore. And if I don't do this, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to our friendship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were worried about losing the friendship.
Yeah. So it was a feeling like you need to do what he
Continue
wants.
this because you wanted to still be friends with
Yeah.
him. The public in general thinks it's violent, that it's very painful, that it hurts, and that it's very scary. But what you're describing is totally the opposite of that.
Right. Yeah, that was the thing, is that the way Michael approached the abuse, the sexual activity with me, was always extremely tender, and again, began with hugs and embraces and kisses on the head, and then just kept expanding in that direction, but to a obviously much more twisted place. But yeah, there was never, he didn't beat me, he didn't, he never said mean things to me. It was all, we love each other. It was all tender.
He made you feel special.
Yeah.
You all both tell a very descriptive story about sexual activity with Michael Jackson. He went to trial in 2005. He called on both of you to testify on his
There you go.
behalf.
Both of them. I
And
know
Wade,
that.
you did. You got on the stand and you testified on his behalf and vehemently denied that any sexual activity had taken place.
Yes.
Okay, so if the money was the motive for these guys, what Gayle King just articulated, that they were defending Michael Jackson when Michael Jackson was accused of, I think it was Alvin Gore, of those molestation allegations. So if money was the sentence for these boys, why did they side with Mike and get nothing when they could just say, hey, nah, he touched us, and then Mike would have been done. Jail, legacy gone.
Why did you do that?
Yeah, well, Michael's training of me to testify began the first night that he started abusing me. In the sense that, as I told you, that right away after the first kind of experience of sexual abuse, he started telling me that if anybody else ever finds out, we'll both go to jail. Both of our lives will be over. We can't tell other people, this is what Michael would say, because other people are ignorant. They just wouldn't understand that this is how we show our love, right?
Why did you want to protect him? You loved him.
Because I loved him. And the thought of him going to jail was an unfathomable thought for me that would just terrified me. And so I was going to do anything I could do to protect my friend.
They credit your testimony in part for Michael's acquittal. You were called really a star witness. You withstood a blistering cross-examination. Yeah. On some level, do you feel guilty about that now? Because another person who was making allegations, Michael Jackson was acquitted of what he was accused of doing to him. Right. Do you think about that, or did you think about it?
Yeah, I do think about that. I have, and I do. Gosh, I wish it was different. I wish that I was ready. I wish that I could have helped Gavin Arvizo receive some justice and some validation for what happened to him. It was just like what happened to me and just like what happened to James. And I wish that I could have played a role in, at that point, stopping Michael from abusing however many other kids he did after that.
Yeah, you're both admitting to us that you did lie in the past. The Jackson family and Jackson fans, as you know, are adamantly defending him and saying that you all are admitted liars. You're trying to exploit him. He is no longer with us. You're just opportunistic and trying to get money from the estate and from Michael Jackson. What do you all say to that?
It's an old argument that they've used for many, every time they come out with that. They say it's just about the money. For me, the lawsuit was about fighting back for little James. Nobody fought for me as a kid, but I'm old enough now to fight for myself. So win or lose, that doesn't matter. What matters is fighting. And so that's part of my process, my healing.
So they felt a little guilt because they loved Mike as an entertainer, Don't forget, we're talking about Michael Jackson. We're not talking about R. Kelly or Bill Cosby and Epstein. We're talking about Michael Jackson is the most beloved entertainer ever. I got clips of this guy is in Korea, and Koreans are going crazy over him. Now, you show me a clip of Beyonce or Taylor Swift or Drake in Korea, and Koreans going crazy over him, risking their lives. You dig? So Michael's really bigger than we think he is. So like it's you really gotta really have an open mind to like digest both sides of information. It's because again, if you already for Mike, then you're only gonna hear what you want to hear. If you're against Mike, you're only gonna hear what you want to hear. But you gotta be unbiased. Take yourself out of you know, you don't know. This guy named Michael Jackson could be your next door neighbor. So now, if your next door neighbor was accused of all these things and had private time with a 7-year-old boy, like, would you think that next door neighbor was innocent? With the same details, circumstances, you gotta look at it from that lens.
Process.
I understand why that's hard for people to get, because it's really complex, emotionally, psychologically.
All right, so let me read this. Okay, so so Macaulay says always people there. I mean his staff. Right now, that's what I said. So I said that. I said when he was with Michael Jackson for a week alone, the one on the right. One can ask, why would Michael Jackson want to be alone with a 7-year-old kid alone? Like, there's only two ways to really answer that. One, he's not in his right mind. He loved kids genuinely. It's his childhood, and he just want to spend time with kids. He's a kid himself. That's one way to look at it. But the opposite way to look at it, equally important, is that he's a pedophile. Because pedophiles like to be around kids for the same reasons. They love kids, vulnerable kids. So which way you want to go with it? Because a normal, sane man is not going to want to spend a week alone with a kid, with his parents on vacation. That's impossible. That's not gonna happen. So Mike is not in his right mind. He's in a kid's mind. Because we know people who got the kid's mind who just love kids. It's genuine. Like they don't have no nefarious reasons or what I mean. They just love kids. And it's weird for us to understand, but they just love kids. Like they're a kid themselves. But then you got the other side, which you got the molesters, right? I'm gonna say Chesters from now on. But you got the Chesters who love kids too, but for the wrong reason. So it's like, which one is Mike? That's the balance we're trying to find out. So let's read some more comments. So Said Bree says, why no one from the staff ever spoke up? The Fed spoke to them as well. Red, that's important. That's another thing. Cause you see Diddy bodyguards speaking up, saying crazy stuff. Actually, there is some, okay, as I'm recalling, there is some bodyguards saying something. I don't know what it is. It could be for Mike, it could be against Mike. I don't know. I didn't want to play it because I don't want to hear people after the fact. If y'all know me and my standard, don't tell me some stuff after the fact. You did tell me, especially if you're not involved. See, these guys right here, they're telling after the fact too, but they were alleged victims, so I would give them a pass. But don't give me somebody who, like Gene, Diddy bodyguard. Don't give me somebody like that or Jaguar Wright, who's after the fact. And now talking, I'm good with you. Like, you got to at least be a victim because a real whistleblower, a real hero will say something then while the crime is going on. Oh, so let me get some more. He said, if you look at all the SHIT that happened to the Chandler family, you can see that they had several, they had my issues. But those issues could also stem from the kid being molested. That could also separate a family. If you I think you'd be more afraid to lie on the stand. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Logic is you'd be more afraid to lie than to tell the truth. And they just said that they was being cross-examined by some top prosecutors, and they withstood that as kids. And grown adults can't withstand prosecutors, exact cross-examination. So yeah, I mean, you hit on some good points, some good things to think about that favors Mike. Um, yeah, so I agree. The Jerks from Jersey piece. So I agree. A kid lying on the stand with these top prosecutors would pick them apart. They were able to withstand top prosecutors, and yeah, yeah, that is a good observation right there.
The way that this has evolved for me, after I fell apart emotionally in an explicit way with a couple of nervous breakdowns, which led to me disclosing the abuse for the first time to my therapist. Once I began talking about it after 22 years of silence, it initiated this kind of everything I'd been holding down for 22 years started coming out of me.
So basically, they're saying like once they became fathers themselves, they were able to like be honest about they were in denial. That Mike never touched them. But once they had kids, they literally look at their sons and say, "Yo, I will never want you to experience what I experienced. So I feel like I have a duty to go ahead and just tell my truth for the first time." So that's why they're here.
Right? This emotional and mental and physical upheaval. And then some point in that healing process, I would say, I don't know, maybe 9 months or so in, what started arising in me was this question, first, how can I take this thing that happened to me, Michael abusing me, this horrible thing that happened to me, that shouldn't have happened to me, that shouldn't happen to any kid.
So
but
I get it how they won't lie on the stand. They'd be more afraid to lie on the stand. But you would have to say, said Breeze, that everything they're saying right now is scripted. Like these guys are pretty much just actors. Like you would have to admit to that what they're saying right now is a lie, right? And they're saying it nationally. This is Gayle King. They get hell of views. They got 1.2 million views, right? So, and they're lying according to you and others, and it's scripted. So, like these guys are just good actors because it seems to come off genuine.
did. So what can I do with it now? Right? How can I take this bad thing and try and turn it into something good for other people and for myself? So from that question arose this desire of how could I tell the truth and where? What platform?
When I hear you, and you both are saying very similar things, that you want to help others, that you want to shine a light, and it sounds very noble. So there is still a potential of getting money from the Jackson estate. And they're saying that if you didn't have that looming, even as a possibility in the background, you would not be telling the story.
So in relation to...
That this is all about money is their bottom line here.
Right.
Especially Wait For You.
Right. In relation to me deciding to do the court case in the first place, it was all those reasons I spoke of, trying to find a platform. But that's the thing, trying to find what is the most powerful platform to tell my story. And the legal system is what we have, right? I could have just, gone and done interviews and that sort of thing, right? And it most likely would have been sensationalized and would have been all the buzz for a couple of weeks or a month, and then it's over, and what good would that have done? Yeah. So it was my attempt to try and find a platform where this would be taken seriously. So that's why I chose that platform.
I understand that the producer, director, Dan Reed, came to you. You all didn't go to him.
Yeah.
Are you all getting paid for your participation in this documentary?
No, we're not getting paid for the documentary, never will.
See, so they're not getting paid to tell their side of the story. So it's like, what is their incentive for speaking their piece on a documentary?
Never have.
No licensing for photos or for video?
Never have and never
Yeah.
will receive a cent from this documentary film in
All
any
right,
way.
so they're not getting absolutely nothing from the documentary, which is amazing. Because you would think that if I'm lying, hey man, let me get a little something.
Shape or form.
You too, James? Were there
Yeah.
any money that did you get any money for your participation in this documentary in any way?
No, there's no money. No money in the future, no money now.
You had a breakdown as well, James.
Yeah, it happened. I mean, I was in a continuous breakdown. It's not any kind of way to live. But you don't connect something that happened to you as a kid as the reason why this is happening. Until I saw when Wade came out.
So said Breeze, let me hear you say it. So you would have to say that these two men are lying. So do you believe these two men are just flat out lying?
And he
You
was
saw
just
an
echoing.
interview with Wade on TV.
Right, and it was like, oh my God, that's me. And okay, this is from abuse.
Then
What's
did you
going
reach
on?
out to him?
Not immediately. It was more like, okay, if there's a cause, I can find a solution. And so when I first saw it, it wasn't an instant like relief. Like I was triggered. Like seeing you was like coming back, all that sort of fear of being caught, wrapped up.
Right.
So it was like weeks of just kind of panic, and then that sort of had to unravel itself, and then the process of
Johnny.
like, oh my God, now if I'm gonna fix this, I gotta say something. And if I say something, I can't go back.
Yeah.
And
right.
this is, the world will know. This isn't like stays in the family.
Right.
Like the decision to come forward is as scary as a thing as you can do.
Where does Michael Jackson sit with you both today?
I don't think I can answer that.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah. I still have really, I can't, yeah, a lot of mixed feelings. There's still a bit of love, and there's still, it's almost like a guilt for saying the truth. Like I've betrayed him.
Like you betrayed him?
Yeah, it's like I still have those old wiring, you know, that's still there. So, you know, my relationship or my understanding of my relationship with him, I think it needs a lot of work.
And when you hear a Michael Jackson song, you think what? Or you do, is it a trigger for you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's gotten better for me, but a lot of times if I'm in a restaurant or it's anywhere, a lot of times I'll have to leave because I feel it in my body first before I even realize that it's playing. I'll
right,
start
so let
feeling
us
some
move on.
anxiety, or sometimes even because his
Let's move on from there. Let's move on. Here's a timeline of the allegations against Michael Jackson, molestation allegations against Michael Jackson. So Michael Jackson starts developing a relationship with a 12-year-old fan of the pop star. Jackson invited him and his family to travel with him during his Dangerous World Tour. And like that's the first mistake. Like this obsession Michael Jackson had with kids is like really just inevitable to end up in a molestation case, either true or false. It was still inevitable. Rolling Stone reported that the boy had sleepovers with Michael Jackson. The child's father then claimed his son probably told him he had been repeatedly molested by Michael Jackson. So this is the Chandlers, right? This is Evan Chandler, the dad, speaking on his biological son, Jordan Chandler. But let me get some context. Jordan Chandler, the kid in question, he was living not with his biological dad. He's living with his biological mom and his stepdad. Okay, and that's how. So Michael Jackson met Jordan Chandler through his biological mom and stepdad. Eventually, the biological dad, who was divorced from the mom, ended up catching wind in Michael Jackson because he had, I think, gained full custody of Jordan Chandler at some point. So to get to Jordan Chandler, he had to go through Evan Chandler, the biological father. So that's the biological father who said his boy told him that he was being molested by Michael Jackson. The boy made the first known reported allegation against the pop legend. So the boy made the first known reported allegation against the pop legend. He told a psychiatrist, now here's the point. Breeze, you gotta respond to this one. So the boy told a psychiatrist what Michael Jackson had allegedly done to him, including cuddling and open-mouthed kissing. So this is what Jordan Chandler told his psychiatrist about Michael Jackson. So I need you to, speak to that. Police launched an investigation into Jackson and filed search warrants, including one for his Neverland ranch. The LA Times reported that videotapes leaked from Jackson's condo, some of which reportedly had pornography, were not enough evidence to incriminate. 30 million, so now it's 30 million. The number goes from 21 million to 30 million. So it's anywhere in that realm. Okay, so a $30 million. No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I spoke too far. Anyway, a $30 million lawsuit was filed against Jackson, accusing him of several crimes, including willful misconduct, and seduction. Authorities strip searched Jackson after the boy gave them a description of the singer's nude body. So the boy gave a description that they want to know what Jackson's body, his new body looks like, with unique stuff you can only know if he's naked. The boy gave a description. They strip searched him and tried to find corroborating evidence. 2 days later, the singer addressed from Neverland Ranch the claims made against him.
There have been many disgusting.
Okay, I'm gonna play this later, so I'm not playing it now. I might as well.
Statements made recently concerning allegations of improper conduct on my part. These statements about me are totally false.
Jackson and the boy's family reached an agreement of more than $23 million reporting CNN. So that's the number I was speaking about. So this number goes from 21 to 22, 23. So now the question I would have for said Breeze and whoever else is that if you're innocent and Evan Chandler, the dad, is lying about his son's Jordan Chandler molestation allegations, why are you settling out of court? That's the question I want to ask you guys. If Mike is innocent, like you and I, then there couldn't be much evidence against us to prove if we're actually really innocent of something. Why would we settle knowing that you can't prove none of the crap you said? So why is Mike settling for 20? Now listen, this is 1994. So $23 million at that time is like $230 million our time. Okay, so Mike made him a quarter of a billionaire. I mean, in our time, who pays $230 million off a lie, based on a lie? That's the part that's gonna hurt Mike. It's like, why would you do that? See, when you go to trial, like Diddy and Cosby and whoever else, R. Kelly, you're forced to bring forth the evidence. So now we're going to see the evidence. Probably not right then and there because it's a federal case, but at some point we're going to hear about the evidence, okay? And we're not going to be happy if he's railroaded and the evidence is fringe. So for Mike not to go to take it to trial, even Young Thug took it to trial. For Mike not to take it to trial is very suspicious at the very least. It's very suspicious to just pay out $23 million in 1994. This is 30 years ago, okay? So like I said, this is like 200 million or 100 something million. This is a lot of goddamn money. This is general wealth you're paying to a little boy who's lying with his dad, allegedly. So this is the January 1994. So this is the suspicious part that anybody who's pro-Mike got to answer to. Why is he settling out of court for 23 million based on a lie? Okay, so that's a setup question. That question is a setup question. Because if you can answer too fast, I'm going to remind you of Michael's counsel. This settlement, he had Johnny Cochran representing him. Okay, he had Johnny Cochran representing him. And if he's innocent, are you guys telling me Johnny Cochran couldn't find Michael Jackson innocent from something he did not commit? He's able to find O.J. Simpson innocent when the entire world believed he was guilty, collectively. Michael Jackson, the world was split on 50-50. So that's even easier. But Johnny Cochran couldn't prove Michael Jackson's innocence on child molestation when the FBI did the investigation, couldn't come up with nothing. So this is the case you don't settle. This is a win-win. Like, yo, but nah, let's fight this. But they settled for not 1 million, not 500,000. They settled for 23 million, which is like 200 million today. That's some Mega Millions lottery winning. You dig? Yeah. Come on, guys. You gotta admit that. Can you admit that's a little bit suspicious? Can y'all admit that? That's a little bit suspicious. Johnny Cochran is representing him, man, and couldn't do nothing with an innocent man. But OJ, who most likely was actually involved in his ex-wife's murder, got acquitted. And he most likely had some involvement. He probably didn't do the killing, but he had most likely some involvement. And he got acquitted against public opinion. But Michael Jackson, the public opinion believes he's innocent. And the evidence, the FBI said, hey, we ain't have much. Right? The FBI said we ain't have much. So Johnny Cochran like, yo, I know you ain't got nothing. Because we know you got nothing. So you would think Johnny Cochran be like, yo, get out of here. We ain't settling. Get up, bums, get out of here. Leechers, get out of here. He settled for 20, not 1 million, not 500,000, not 80,000. He settled for 20. That's life-changing money. That's about 200 to 150 million today. We doing that? I'm gonna just lie then. Yeah, Mike got me. Give me 200 million, 23 million. You dig? Like, come on, like what we do? Yo, you gotta admit that is suspicious. Like, come on. I know you love Mike, but that was suspicious to settle for 23 million. He was not charged with any crime, but his reputation in public eye began to erode. Yeah, you are never charged with crime if you settle. That's the point of settling, is to not be charged with crime, not to go to trial. The New York Times reported that 18-month criminal investigation produced no incriminating evidence against the singer. Look at this shit, man. All right, talk to me. Talk to me. Almost 2 years of criminal investigations produced no incriminating evidence against Michael Jackson. So why did Johnny Cochran choose to settle? This is an easy win, right? What are we doing? The Johnny Cochran documentary, Living with Michael. Okay, so now we're going forward, right? We're going 10 years afterwards. So the documentary, Living with Michael Jackson, debuted. Most of the footage suggested the singer may have had underhanded predatory intentions. Okay, so now that's his latest accuser. Okay, the focus of the doc was Jackson's relationship with a young boy named Gavin Arvizo. I butchered his name earlier, but his name is Gav. I said Alvin. His name is Gavin Arvizo, who stayed at his Neverland Ranch. More than 55 million views tuned in during the movie's premiere. 55 million. Bad news. then reported that the boy probably let authorities know Jackson had abused him on several occasions. The investigation against Jackson started up again. Jackson was served a warrant that allowed police officers to search Neverland Ranch. The findings were never revealed except for a stash of pornography allegedly found inside the room. Okay. So pornography, what does that mean? Okay, there's nothing wrong with pornography. Again, like that could be nude pictures of you know what I mean, a girl he dated. So that don't mean nothing. When they say that's just goofy to say pornography. That means that it's legal. They shouldn't even mention this. So this is an attempt to like tear his reputation. Pornography means legal, right? This is legal nude pics. Naked lady he's dating, naked lady he wants to date. He did sent pictures, selfies, whatever. Like this means nothing right here. As long as the word child is not in front of here, there's nothing wrong with this. Okay, he's a human being. Like women and men got pornography, you know, pictures in their goddamn possession somewhere. And let alone watching it, or you know, West Coast. Remember West Coast Productions porn? Yeah. So this right here meant nothing. They might not even mention this because this is just his legal right to, you know, look at naked pictures. Okay, it don't even mean video. So this was even goofy to mention. Jackson was arrested a week later after the documentary. Jackson was formally charged with 9 criminal counts, including 7 of child molestation. Jackson made his first appearance for let me ask you. Yeah, they got Jackson looking like a whole thought right here. I mean, like a whole 304 right here. Hey, yo. So now I need y'all to fill in the blanks. So he was charged in 93 of child molestation with a kid that he hung out with, stayed at his ranch, you know, without the parents. He even went to the parents' house to stay the night. He had this bond with this little boy. Okay, he had to settle out of court for for $23 million. Now remember when I showed you how much he paid for the Beatles catalog, right? ATV Publishing, it was $47 million. And don't forget, like when I showed you that stuff, when I showed you that he spent $47 million to buy ATV Publishing, which contained the Beatles catalog, like that was like one of the highest bids out there. Okay, that's 91, I believe. So now he spends half of that on an allegation. Like, dude, like when he bought the Beatles catalog, he really went in his bag. So if you're innocent, you know, and Jordan Chandler is saying you touched him and his father is saying it, and you spend half of that Beatles bag just to settle it, that's just weird. Okay, so you would think, okay, let's say he's innocent at that time. You say, yeah, I just spent half of my Beatles spending on this little nerd. So look, I'm gonna fall back from kids because this is gonna break me. No, he goes right back, and now he's with Arvin Garvin. What's that little kid name? Gavin, whatever the hell it is. He's with Arvizo. So he goes right back and hangs out with another young kid, 14 years old. And now he's being charged again for child molestation. So Mike, this is like another $23 million. So basically, you didn't spend if you got to settle this one, you didn't spend your Beatles purchase over. So you basically purchased it twice. Like, when did you learn? Like, yo, this ain't worth it. Okay, I didn't touch no kid. I got the dad greedy. I got genuine love for kids, but he didn't sue me for half of what I paid for the Beatles publishing. I'm cool, these little nerds. I'm cool, man. Now, y'all go do you. I'm gonna do me, and that's it. You would think that, right? No, he's back in court to 10 years later to potentially spend another $23 million. Looking like a whole thought right here. 304. Look, 304. So the People versus Jackson criminal trial began. A large number of witnesses were called to testify against Jackson. Macaulay Culkin, the defense included actor Macaulay Culkin, who became friends with Jackson in the early 90s. So it's more friendship with little boys. Doesn't mean guilt. Jackson was cleared of all charges. That's another win. Well, he settled. That was a loss. This is a win. He was cleared of all charges. 50-year-old Jackson died from cardiac arrest brought on by prescription. So they're just going something different. Okay, so when people say, yeah, but he was cleared of all charges and blah, 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 he never was found guilty, he settled. It's like, listen, family, follow me real fast. It's not like the little boys are saying Michael Jackson, the king of pop, had sex with them. That's more easier to prove because he would have to backdoor them, right? These are little boys. Like their back door should be closed. So if they do some tests back there and the back door is open, it's clear that somebody did that. Either their dad, uncle, right? Somebody did that. Okay, so that would be more easier to prove. But look at, okay, you have to be unbiased. So look at this. How hard would it be to prove oral sex? How do you prove that? Just imagine you're a woman and some little simp just like, yo, mom, let me do this. It makes me feel good. All right, whatever. Like, how can she prove, or you prove you did that? Like, once it's over. Like, there's no semen. Like, see what I'm saying? There's no hair, but definitely no semen. Okay, now she, vice versa. She gives you oral sex. How do you really prove that? Especially like months later. Like, how do you really prove? How do you prove oral sex months later? What RAPE kits they got for that? They think about that. You know how hard it's just like impossible to prove. Like your DNA from your mouth, it goes away after a certain time. Who knows how fast it goes away? But that's kind of like, so the boys never said they got back doors. They said it was French kissing, saliva, and it was oral sex. Like, that's very hard to prove. So if people say he never got found guilty, it's like, well, who could be found guilty of that? So the only way to like prove him guilty of that is to find communications, right, between him and the boy. SEXUAL communication with the boy. And you pretty much got to self-snitch, right? You got to have a computer, Instagram message, not Instagram, but AIM, AOL, AIM messaging. At that time, Yahoo messaging, you got to do it like that. But as long as he don't talk like that, which he's not on the computer, you just invite them over. Because if you do the AOL Instant Messenger, the parent can be right there reading along. So, I mean, I know Mike's smarter than that. Like, I didn't talk about that on the AIM Instant Messenger, AOL Instant Messenger with you. You come over and talk about it in person. So it's like, so if there's no recording and there's no staff member hearing this, because you said, hey, staff members ain't say nothing, what can they say? All they can say is the obvious. The kid was there. But just because the kid was there doesn't mean they did something. So the staff is not in the bedroom. The staff is outside the bedroom. So if the staff is in the bedroom, then you can say, yeah, staff said nothing happened. If they outside the bedroom, they can only say, man, I wasn't in there. I don't know. It's common sense. And if or something orally happened there, how is that proven months later, a year later? How is that possible? The kids over there for like 3, 4 days. They're gonna take a shower and wash. I'm sure if he's a predator, he's gonna have them go ahead and take a bath and shit. He's gonna bathe them. You dig? So it's like we gotta be like real on both sides. All right, so here we go. So I hope that resonates with this. So consider that. Here we go. This is about Jordan Chandler, the first accuser. 1990. No, I'm sorry. This is an interview with Diane Sawyer and Michael Jackson, I believe. Somebody wants to play.
Michael Jackson's
No,
car
I'm sorry,
broke down on
this is the
Wilshire
story of how
Boulevard.
he met Jordan Chandler. So his car broke down.
A short distance away laid a car rental agency, owned by a man by the name of David Schwartz. Upon seeking David's services, the owner is in awe of the fact that the king of pop is in his rental shop. David presents Michael with an offer. He would let Michael rent a car free of charge if Michael called his stepson, who was a huge fan, in return. Michael agreed, calling the stepson a couple of days later. The boy was thrilled and his family became friends with Michael. The boy in question was Jordan Chandler, who would become the first ever accuser of Michael Jackson. From May of 1992 through to January of 1993, Michael kept in contact with Jordan and his mother June over the telephone whilst he was travelling internationally on his Dangerous World Tour.
So
Michael Jackson's
kept in contact with this boy. It's like, I mean, that's kind of weird because, like, Mike, you don't have other boys you're already in contact with. So this almost seemed like the first kid Mike actually was in contact with. You would think Mike, the big star, he got other kids he's in contact with, but it looks like this is the only one. So he's like, wow, this fell into my lap. You can imagine. Let's go on with this story with Jordan Chandler.
Michael called the family about 8 to 10 times during this period, estimating at about once a month. June Chandler confirmed that she was present with her son throughout all of these phone calls. Whilst Michael was on a break from touring, he came home to his infamous Neverland Ranch in Southern California, where he then invited Jordan, his younger sister, and his mother to visit. The Chandlers didn't visit again until March of 1993. June recalls on several occasions.
All right, so where do you think Jordan Chandler is sitting? Let me ask you guys, where do you think Jordan Chandler is sitting right now? Is he sitting on the floor? Is he sitting in his own chair? Or is he sitting on Michael Jackson's lap?
Jordan asking her if he could sleep in Michael's bedroom because
Now, he's not 3 or 4 where you can see that happening. 3, 4, even like you pushing 5 years old, sitting on the lap. You can be like, that's kind of normal. Definitely 3 and 2 and 4, maybe. 5 is pushing it, but this dude like 7, 8. 7, 8-year-olds don't even sit on their dad's lap or their mom lap, but he's sitting on Michael Jackson's lap. Now, I'm not saying guilty or innocent. I'm saying he's sitting on Michael Jackson's lap at an age where he's like lapped out. They don't sleep on, they don't sit on laps at this age. They sit in their own chairs. But he's sitting on Michael Jackson's lap. So somehow Mike convinced him, nothing wrong with that. And only Michael Jackson, because how beloved he is, can convince a little boy 9 years old to sit on his lap. Even like LeBron couldn't do that. Like what? Donald Trump couldn't do that. Like, what? Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna sit over here. But Michael Jackson, because of his popularity and how beloved he is, he convinced a 9-year-old boy to sit on his lap as though he's 3 years old.
all of the other kids were. She didn't allow him to sleep in there, but to play in there with the other kids until 2 a.m. before returning to the guest room he was staying in.
2 a.m. playing with Michael Jackson, no problem, right?
On March 28, 1993, Michael invited June, Jordan, and Jordan's sister to Las Vegas, where they would stay at the Mirage Hotel.
Sounds like trafficking to me. I'm just joking.
This also marked the moment that the Chandlers began their string of frequent visits to Neverland Ranch, Michael's Century City condo. Michael called the family about 8 to 10 times during this period, estimating at about once a month. June Chandler confirmed that she was present with her son throughout all of these phone calls. Whilst Michael was on a break from touring, he came home to his infamous Neverland Ranch in Southern California, where he then invited Jordan, his younger sister, and his mother to visit. The Chandlers didn't visit again until March of 1993.
Okay. All right, I'm sorry. We passed there. Let's go on. Just some context with the first accuser, all right? Just give us some context with the first accuser.
According to the Chandlers, the trip to Las Vegas was the beginning of Jordan sharing a bedroom with Michael. After returning from Las Vegas in early April of the same year, the Chandlers spent another 5 days at Neverland Ranch. June Chandler stated that during a period between April and May of 1993, Michael stayed over at the Chandler family home several times and slept in the same room as Jordan. On May 9th, Michael invited the Chandlers with him to Monaco, where he was awarded at the World Music
so
Awards.
People can take this as, okay, so now let's look at it from the opposite side, right? Who's saying Michael's guilty. So Michael is not just inviting the little boy to all these different places. He's inviting the family, okay? So now, hear me out. It could be possible that he's inviting the family because he's trying to win the family over. Not just Jordan, the little boy. He's trying to win the entire family over. So when something goes left, like allegations, the family can say, "Oh hell no, we don't believe that. He's a good guy." And look at the events he's inviting the family to. This ain't Red Lobster or simple stuff. These Grammys and shit like that. So these people are awed, like they're experiencing like stardom. That type of shit. So they kind of get used to it. People want to know who's that with you, Mike. And they're like the fame, the light is shining on them. They probably got pictures in the red carpet. They probably got people hollering at them like, hey, trying to get in touch, trying to grab them, get in touch with them because they feel like through them they could get to Mike. So they're like really loving this like spotlight life now that their son is friends with Michael. So, parents start to get like incentives and motives like, you know what? We got to keep this going no matter what. Because now we're at Grammys and VMAs and all type of shit.
On May the 12th, the family attended the ceremony with Michael. According to the show, and accompanied him on trips in and out of the US. According to the Chandlers, the band accompanied frequent visits to Neverland Ranch, Michael's Century City condo, and accompanied him on trips in and out of the US. According to the Chandlers, the trip to Las Vegas was the beginning of Jordan sharing a bedroom with Michael. After returning from Las Vegas in early April of the same year, the Chandlers spent another 5 days at Neverland Ranch. June Chandler stated that during a period between April and May of 1993, Michael stayed over at the Chandler family home several times.
So Mike came to the Chandler home several times. So they didn't always come to Neverland. Michael came to their home. So I want you to get the full context. We got Michael Jackson in our house, the most famous man in the world. And not just famous, he got a bag. And he's coming to our house. Like, you have to understand, like, any financial debt they was in is gone. Mike covered it. He's coming to our house. That's the perfect time to give a sob story. Hey, Mike, we behind. yeah, we love you, but yeah, we gonna have to like, we can't hang out with you because we are in like debt. The house is facing foreclosure, and we just too stressed out to be hanging out, man. I'm sorry. What am I gonna do? Done. I done bought your house, paid, no mortgage, nothing is yours. All your bills, all your debt, school loans, whatever, gone. Snap of a finger. So a guy like that, you're not going to turn against in a lot of circumstances, you dig? Because you could just remember what he did for the family that was so dear to you guys, so important. Okay. So just make note that Mike is coming to their homes. I'm saying he's building a great rapport with his families. They're not just only coming to Neverland once a month. He's going to their house for like days and weeks.
And 93, Michael stayed over at the Chandler family home several times and slept in the same room as Jordan.
Explain that. Shed Breeze, where you go? Explain Michael Jackson going to the Jordan's family house. Now, this is the biological mom and the stepfather. Okay, the biological dad is not in the picture yet. It's the stepfather and the biological mom. Said Breeze, makes sense with Michael Jackson going to their home, to the mom's home, and have the audacity to sleep in the same bedroom as the son. Convince the mom, which should be easy by now. This is Michael Jackson, just paid our mortgage, who just paid off our house, who's getting a new home rebuilt for us. Can you like, come on, man? Like, ain't this the way y'all guys see the Illuminati? Like the Diddy's and the Epstein's, like, get to their victims, they use money and power. So now Mike is seen doing some of the same things, and we don't hold him as the same light as Diddy and Epstein and those other powerful guys. Okay. So anyway, Mike's in the boys' room for many times. Watch this.
On May 9th, Michael invited the Chandlers with him to Monaco, where he was awarded at the World Music Awards on May the 12th.
World Music Awards. Okay. So you invite this family there. Yeah, he's winning them over. I'm not saying guilty or innocent at this point. Okay, I'm just letting the record reflect, like, this could be seen as grooming. He's grooming the entire family. This is the devil's advocate position. Like, yo, he's grooming the whole family. So when the boy make allegations, mom like, shut your ass up. We got all this stuff, all our bills paid. We got this, he promises a new house in a wealthy neighborhood. And you talking about he touched you, man? Shut your goofy ass. You gonna blow this for us. Like, you gotta look at it from that angle. You dig?
The family
Okay, so that's Jordan's younger sister.
attended the ceremony with Michael.
Okay, now again, we got a little 12-year-old, okay, sitting on the lap of a grown man that he's not biologically related to and who he barely knows, maybe a year or two. That's it. And he convinced the little boy that it's okay. Little boys this age, they grew out of this sitting on lap stage. They're not sitting on their own mother and dad's lap. But somehow he sits on Michael Jackson's lap. He gave Michael Jackson the exception over his dad and mom. Like, you have to consider these facts.
And afterwards,
He's holding a 6-year-old. I think that's his sister. But like, she's clearly like out of the age of being picked up. I guarantee the mom and dad can pick her up.
they flew over to Paris and spent 3 days at Euro Disney, and on May 16th, the four of them flew back to Los Angeles. 4 days later, on May the 20th, 1993...
Now, they're flying with Michael Jackson. Like, you have to know, like, I am the SHIT. Like, there's no celebrity bigger than him. We're at the pinnacle. We could only fall off from here. If we hang out with Madonna or whoever else, that's a fall off. Prince, we were Michael Jackson.
marked the day that Michael Jackson was first introduced to Jordan's biological father, Evan Chandler.
Okay, so now here comes Evan Chandler, this wild maniac. Here we go. All right, hold on, because I don't want to play this whole thing. This is supposed to just be a clip. So let's move on. Next clip.
Evan had, of course, seen the previous tabloid story, and according to those involved, he wasn't the slightest bit amused. According to Ray Chandler, this was when Evan started to have quote-unquote suspicions that Michael had sexually molested Jordan. Ray Chandler once again revealed in his book that Evan started to share concerns with June that their son might be gay around June 9th, 1993. June said she wouldn't care if that was the case. But according to Ray, Evan had interpreted this in the following, quoting Ray Chandler, "In his mind, June was admitting their son might be gay and having sex with Michael, and that was no big deal." On June 13th, Evan Chandler shared his concerns about the relationship between his son and Michael to a lawyer by the name of Barry Rothman, who was also a patient of
Okay, let's
Evan's.
move on.
Evan had, of course, seen the previous
Now we're
tabloid
getting-
story.
We're getting messy now. It's getting there. It's getting messy. Here comes the drama.
June had supposedly developed concern in February of 1993 when the family travelled to Neverland with Michael in a limo, accompanied by another young boy. Ray states in his book that June observed Michael giving another boy, quote-unquote, soft, lingering kisses. Ray Chandler didn't name the other child in the limo, but archives prove that the extra passenger was in fact Brett Barnes.
Okay.
When
so
June was
the allegation that Mike invited two boys on there, and this is the other boy, Brett Barnes, that he was giving soft kisses and on the lips too.
asked about this trip in Michael's 2005 trial, she recited that she witnessed Michael giving a young boy soft, lingering kisses without describing it as uncomfortable or disturbing. Not only this, but she also described Brett Barnes being sat beside Michael and not on his lap like described in Ray Chandler's book. Brett Barnes was a regular at Neverland and stayed in close contact with Michael into his adulthood.
Okay, it's another kid that, again, we don't know what happened. He never came out and said something happened. But again, this could be seen as grooming. And with Mike, a star like him, a mega star like him, a universal star like him, it's easy to groom if he wants to, especially little kids, let alone grown women. Follow it.
2 months after the allegations against Michael officially dropped, Jordan recounted a night in which he and Michael watched The Exorcist in Michael's room. Michael had eventually offered for Jordan to stay in his room due to the movie having scared him, and it wasn't until the day after in which June found out about this, and a confrontation took place between the singer and the mother. June Chandler's cross-examination by Michael's lawyer Tom Mesereau revealed that the conversation Michael and June had on that trip revolved around trust issues, and that Michael did in fact cry. Not because June wouldn't let Jordan sleep in the same bed as Michael, but because Michael felt that June didn't trust him.
There you go. And Mike went to sleep in the same bed as Jordan.
June also confirmed that it was Jordan who insisted it was okay to stay the night in Michael's room and wanted to. In
No
these
kids don't know any better.
testimonies regarding Jordan's story of that night, there is no case of physical contact between Jordan and Michael. 2 months after the allegation.
We're getting there. We're almost done. Hopefully very soon. So I need to eat.
On January 25th, 1994, an out-of-court settlement was reached in the civil case between Michael Jackson and the family of the boy who accused him of crimes the year before.
This is Jordan Chandler. Okay, the boy we just seen sitting on his lap. This is that family who settled out of court for $20 million.
The amount paid was in the range of $23 million. And
That
although
is Johnny
it was
Cochran,
made
my
clear
friend.
that
So again, if the FBI had 11 years of investigation and had no evidence of Michael Jackson committing molestation, why is Johnny Cochran, one of the best defense lawyers in American history, knowing that there's little information against Mike, why is Johnny Cochran settling out of court for $23 million? Again, that's 94. That amount of money in our time right now is about, I'm guessing, 150 million, 230 million. It's ridiculous. It's up there in the hundreds. You dig? And why are we paying that? Again, he paid for the Beatles catalog at double that, at 47, 46, 47. So you're gonna pay half what you paid for the Beatles catalog to a boy for things that never happened with Johnny Cochran as your lawyer. I find that very, very suspicious.
the settlement was in no way an admission of guilt on Michael Jackson's part, many speculated why a man would pay such a high price to avoid the case going to court. Much has been made on the ongoing impact these allegations had on Michael Jackson thereafter, arguing that even though no crime was proven in the courts, they forever tainted his name and King of Pop status, sending Jackson down a whole public image and personal spiral that he never could quite recover from, leading to his eventual demise.
Let's move on. Y'all got to find that interesting. Johnny Cochran, your lawyer, no evidence against you, but you settle. Right? I'm telling you, because when you have oral sex, there is no evidence, but the only evidence is the kid testifying. It says Johnny Cochran again, walked in the back first. So the only evidence is the kid's testimony. The kid describing what happened, what time, when and where, the specific details. That's the evidence. Okay? So they settled out of court because they want the boy testifying. In my opinion.
After months of negotiations, the estimated $23 million settlement announced that day required $15 million to be set aside for the child in a trust until he turned 18.
That was very interesting. And like Thurman said, it's very suspect.
Then, Jordan's longtime divorced parents would receive $3 million between them, with his biological mother, June, and biological father, Evan Chandler, due to receive $1.5 million each. The remaining $5 million then went to the Chandler's legal team.
Johnny
However,
Cochran is his
although
man,
the civil
lawyer, and they settled again, not 1 million. This is 94. Now in 94, I'm 46. Okay. In 94, I was probably, who knows how old I was, probably 15, 16, 17, I don't remember. But all I know is that when you throw up $1 million at that time, it was like you was rich forever. So you get 23 of them big boys. I'm telling you, that's like, because right now, today's time, we know $1 million ain't you rich forever. So, but if you was awarded $200 million, like if you told your friends, hey man, I just got $200 million, like your friends are going to perceive that you're rich forever. Like, okay, you're definitely going to die rich. And so are your kids with that much money. But if you say, hey, I got 1.5 million, they'll say, hey, you're rich. But your friend's going to understand that you could easily be broke in your lifetime. And that money won't trickle down to your kids. But if you say, I got $200 million, your friends like, yeah, you good, dude. Okay, so when he paid $23 million, that's how much money he pretty much paid to a kid, family and kid, when the FBI had no evidence. Because there is no evidence. All you have is a testimony. Okay, without Kim Porter's video surfacing, all you had was her testimony. You see what I'm saying? That's all you have. But her testimony could be powerful. The way she described events and correlate dates and all that type of stuff. You go in prison. She telling you this happened this time, and you're able to look at that and look at this time, look at that, and you're able to corroborate everything she's saying. Like, yeah, she did go to the hospital over here. Yeah, she did this, and she was over in your address. You dig? That's how it pretty much works. But without that testimony, it's a done deal. Like, you're gonna be acquitted or not even prosecuted.
Case was settled, the criminal investigation against Michael Jackson would
Run that
continue.
back, Turbo.
Although the civil case was settled, the criminal investigation against Michael Jackson would continue. Los Angeles District Attorney Gil Garcetti maintained that the settlement did not affect the criminal investigation and that it also did not prevent Jordan from testifying. However, since the settlement,
So the FBI felt like, yeah, you settled, but that don't mean you're innocent. Like, all we need is Jordan to testify on the events. You're done. They understand that they don't have evidence because, again, how can you prove without cameras and audio? How can you prove ORALSEX? There's no penetration. The boys said they was French kissing Michael Jackson. How do you prove French kissing? Like, really? Like, come on, right now at your home, right now. If a kid's knocking your door, come inside, whatever, use your phone, and say, hey, he touched me, how can they prove you touched them? Like, that's not how it works. You don't just go to jail because they said it. And you might have just touched them. Imagine you're in a club, lights off, lights on, and you grope somebody, you grab them by the PUSSY, Trump style. How can a woman actually prove that without cameras? It's just her word. And all they do is document it against you, right? They say, hey, man, Donnie, we're gonna document this. So when you have like 4 or 5 other accusations of circumstantial cases built against you, and you probably get locked the hell up. And that's how it works. But that one person, you probably gonna beat that because you need evidence. You could smack the hell out of a coworker. As long as that coworker don't have any bruises and there's no camera footage, you're not going to jail, my boy. It'll just be documented and that's it.
Since the settlement, Jordan Chandler Jordan from testifying. However, since the settlement, Jordan Chandler adamantly refused to cooperate with the criminal case.
So the FBI wanted to use Jordan Chandler after the settlement to use him to testify against Mike. And they said, okay, you settled out of court, but you still want to testify, lock this monster up. We're with you. But you got to understand, sometimes kids are being molested, but they don't know it. A lot of times the parents know it and then they tell and get you locked up, but the kids never really understand it. So if you look at that from this angle, like the kid is told that their relationship is molestation. The kid, like, okay, at this point, the kid like kind of enjoy it or don't mind it. So you're looking like, I don't get it. Yeah, well, Mike's doing to you is very bad. And we're gonna lock him up if you just testify. And he's looking at all the gifts, all the trips, all the attention. And I got the biggest star in the world in my house. And we're doing things that I don't mind. And you're telling me we gotta lock him up? Yeah, they're gonna be like, nah, I'm good, nah. I'm not interested.
After months of negotiations, the estimated $23 million settlement
and now for the next game, come on, next 4 game. I'm aware of that. So I'm trying to hurry up and get this out the way. We gotta speed this up. Come on, man.
Santa Barbara and the Los Angeles grand jury held hearings in the Jackson investigation. Both grand juries disbanded without indicting Jackson. Despite this, investigators refused to close the case and were still trying to convince Jordan to testify.
Like, yo, nah, bro, we need you, man. So we got you. but they couldn't promise him anything they couldn't promise Jordan something better than Mike. Mike had the better promises. So yeah, I'm good, yo, go away.
On September 21st, 1994, the Santa Barbara District Attorney, Thomas Sneddon, and Los Angeles District Attorney made an official statement regarding the status of the Michael Jackson case. They informed the public that Jordan Chandler was unwilling to testify, and therefore they were unable to file charges. Gil Garcetti stated that the 18-month investigation did not lead to anything incriminating against Jackson. Santa Barbara and the Los Angeles grand jury held hearings in the Jackson investigation. Both grand juries disbanded without indicting Jackson. Despite this, investigators refused to close the case and were still trying. The 2003 documentary Living with Michael Jackson. In one extraordinary scene, the pop star is seen holding hands with a 13-year-old Gavin, a former cancer sufferer who spent a lot of time at Jackson's Neverland Ranch. When challenged by Bashir about his admission,
Michael, again, it could be innocent, but something with Michael, he kind of bucks these 12 and 13-year-olds to have this affection with him like a 3-year and 4-year-old would have. Like, this is not the attributes of a 13-year-old with an adult. Like, what he's doing right now with Michael, he does not do this with his own parents. Like, you guys that got kids, like your 13-year-old male boy wasn't doing this to you. Not the dad and not the mom. But this affection, and if it is done, this affection is exclusively just for the mom and dad. Like, you don't really do this with your uncle or your aunts. This is normally with your mom and dad, if you're gonna do it at all. 12, 13, you really don't do it even then. But somehow Mike Bucks breaks them to like be this affectionate with him in a few short moments, because they don't know him that long. They like maybe a year or two. They don't really know him that long to be showing this type of affection. Like, that's like amazing.
sleeping in the same room, and sometimes in the same bed as children unrelated to him, Michael.
So Mike sometimes sleeps with kids in bed with him. Again, I mean, you're guilty, but he's admitting he does do it.
Jackson professed, quote, "It's not sexual. We're going to sleep. I tuck them in. It's very charming. It's very sweet." As a result of this, the controversy.
So Mike admits he goes to sleep with them, he tucks them in. Okay, so that's why I say it's two ways to look at that. There's two ways. You can look at like Mike's he just loves kids because he missed his childhood. He's innocent. You can look at him as like a slow guy who's like really, really just into kids and don't understand like how it's perceived by the public. Or you could look at it as, hey man, he's doing what most pedos would do.
Special documentary caused an intense public scandal against Jackson, reigniting speculations over allegations that were made a decade before.
So this is by because of last case
with many in the public eye disgusted by Michael Jackson's casual admission to dangerously inappropriate behavior with minors, leaving the children involved, and himself, vulnerable to lurid assumptions by the worldwide press. 2003 documentary.
Okay, we're moving pretty fast. These clips are very short and to the point. Okay, you know what this is, right? This is Catherine Jackson. This is Catherine Jackson. This is Michael Jackson's mom. Okay, let's get it.
Did you speak to Michael?
Yes, I did speak to Michael.
What did you say to him?
He told me the same thing, Mother. It's not true, so don't worry about it. It'll go away. But.
And then, when it was in the news that the boy was paid $21 million as a settlement, what were your thoughts?
Oh my God, I was so upset. I called him and I said, why did you pay these people that money and make them think that it's true?
I told you, and Thurman said, yeah, I was suspect. Why would you pay them if you're innocent? And that's a lot. Okay, 100,000, even 1 million. It's like, all right, whatever. but 23, why? Okay, why that amount? That's a lot. That's like, again, that's like 100 million in today's time. Why that amount of money? That looks like hush money. His own mom, like, why you do that? That's just a bad look. And it's not like he did it. He got Johnny Cochran as a defense lawyer, one of the baddest defense attorneys ever, who got OJ freed and acquitted. How, if you're truly innocent, Mike, OJ might not have been 100% truly innocent, but Mike, according to y'all, he really is. So of course he can get an innocent man out of a jam, right? He's innocent, right? So why would they settle for 23? That's a lot of money in 1994, man. For something you did not do. That's wild. Something is missing.
I said, why did you pay these people that money and make them think that it's true? He said, I didn't. It wasn't me. He said, the lawyer said that would be best for me to do because here I'm out here on tour and it would be a big thing. And I guess they thought I shouldn't think about what I guess they thought, but I guess his tour wouldn't have gone so well. And so they did, but that was the wrong thing to do. To pay them.
So I want to know, how much was that tour? Was it more than 23 million? Was that Europe tour? Like a world tour. How do you word this? Mike is world tour. How cash payout? I don't know. Money. I don't know how to word this. Okay, all right, here we go. So we got the Eras tour. I don't know which tour this was, but none of them so far is yeah, none of them. Yes, I don't get that. Like, he didn't even make $1 million on most of these tours. So why would he? Yeah, that don't look creepy to you guys? Why would you pay? Wait, yeah, okay. So high grossing tours. So where's Michael Jackson in it? Okay, Michael Jackson. So Bad World Tour, was that it? Is that 125 million? Man, that's a lot of money. Okay. This might make a little sense. Okay, so this number will make a little sense now. If this is the actual tour, this is 89. This ain't the tour. No, 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 no. No, this ain't the tour. Because that was 94. Okay. So yeah, this is the Bad World Tour, 125 million. No, 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 no. Not so fast. No, that's not what he made when he paid that money. How about I say if he made that much, then it was worth, I believe, the payout. Okay, so even that's not it. 75 million to Jackson. We need to know about 1994. That's not it. This is 96. That's not even it. Yeah, I need to know what tour was that. Let's go back, see what tour it was. Which tour was it?
When it was in the news that the boy was paid $21 million as a settlement, what were your thoughts?
Oh my God, I was so upset that it's true to do because here I'm out here on tour and it would be a big thing. And I guess they thought I shouldn't think about what. But I guess they thought, but I guess this tour wouldn't have
So
gone so
Dangerous
well.
World Tour.
And so they did, but that was the wrong thing to do, to pay them. And he came.
Did you speak to Michael?
Yes, I did speak to Michael.
What did you say to him?
He told me the same thing.
Okay,
"Mommy,
so this was
it's not true,
over $100
so
million
don't worry about it. It'll go away."
dollars.
But
And then, when it was in the news that the boy was paid $21 million as a settlement, what were your thoughts?
oh my God, I was so upset. I called him and I said, "Why did you pay these people that money and make them think that it's true?" He said, "I didn't. It wasn't me." He said, "The lawyer said
Okay.
that would be best for me
Okay.
to do
I
because
think we're
here
getting
I'm
somewhere.
out here on tour."
So, yeah, so we're talking about this over this tour right here. Yeah, it looks like it made about 100 million from what I read. So if that was the case, selling for 20 million, I mean, that might have made sense. Yeah, okay. So that doesn't look so creepy now. You know, I'm not gonna go to trial and win, right? And miss out on $100 million when I could just pay them 20 million and make $80 million. Okay, all right, okay, cool. That would make sense why he would settle is to make 80 million. Okay, all right, okay, all right. So now it doesn't make Mike so creepy. Okay, cool. All right, I get it. That's if he made 100 million total. Which is Michael Jackson. But this might be creepy to some people. Come on now.
A 36-year-old man sleeping with a 12-year-old boy, or a series of them.
Right. Okay, when you say boys, it's not just boys, and I've never invited just boys to come in my room. Come on, that's ridiculous. And that's a ridiculous question. But since people want to hear it, you know, the answer, I'll be happy to answer it. I have never invited anyone into my bed, ever. Children love me, I love them, they follow me, they want to be with me. But anybody can come in my bed. A child can come in my bed if they want.
I can say
Okay,
it's
so now she ain't gonna help it out at all. She run her damn mouth, and Michael's handled it very well. But look what she's gonna say. It's gonna mess it all up.
I've seen it a lot. I've seen kids. I've seen him with children in the last year. I've seen it enough to where I can see how that can happen. It's, you know, I understand.
Isn't part of being an adult, and you have a 2-year-old child, 2-year-old boy.
Yeah, let me just, sorry.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that I've seen these children, they don't let him go to the bathroom without
Oh my God.
running in there with him. And they
Why did she just say that? That's the worst thing to say.
seen these children, they don't let him go to the bathroom without
That
running in there
was
with him.
not a
And
good
they
look. So the children are running in the bathroom, Michael Jackson, when his pants are down. That was not, you were not helping it out, Rick.
seen these children, they don't let him go to the bathroom without
Okay.
running in there with him.
You
And
just, Michael Jackson was sort of clearing himself, and you just really ruined it. You know, so these kids are in the bathroom. Michael Jackson, while he got his drawers down, taking number 2 or whatever he's doing. That was bad. All right, so now let's get into the boring part. Okay, give me a second. We're almost done. But yeah, I surprised y'all with Katherine Jackson, didn't I? Okay, so let's take it from the top. I'm gonna try to read fast as possible so we get out of here. Here we go. Okay. August 1993, Los Angeles police began investigating Jackson. The Los Angeles Times reports that the LAPD has begun investigating Jackson based on allegations that he possibly molested 4 children, including a 13-year-old boy. The boy is mentioned by name and in photos in Leaving Neverland. The police find no incriminating evidence at Jackson's Neverland Ranch, nor at his Los Angeles condominium. So incriminating evidence would be child pornography, texts, or messages, that he's communicating with the boy sexually, or with somebody else about the boy sexually, or about little kids, period, sexually. Yeah, I mean, they didn't find that. They're not gonna find any DNA because it's oral sex. Like, I'm a DNA. Yeah. Like, come on. Okay, so let's move on. And what does that even mean? Like, because they take showers and baths every day. If they find DNA on clothes, like, he could be coughing, he could be slobbing. There's like many reasons I could have got there. But SEMEN, if it got there, it's only one way that gets that it gets there on clothing or as ejaculation. So that's different than slop. The family says that Jackson argued with Jamie's mother about sleeping in the same bed with him, saying, according to Vanity Fair, "Why don't you trust me?" This is Michael Jackson allegedly saying, "Why don't you trust me? If we're a family, you've got to think of me as a brother. Why make me feel so bad? This is a bond. It's not about sex. This is something special." From that point onward, end quote. From that point onwards, the family claims Jamie slept with Jackson nearly every night for the next several months. Wow. So the family claims Jamie slept with Jackson nearly every night for the next several months. That's not a good look. September 1993, one family filed suit against Jackson. In the filing, a family whose child is ostensibly the 13-year-old boy referred to as Jamie by Vanity Fair alleges that Jackson had repeatedly committed sexual battery on their son. Jackson Teens maintains that the suit is part of an attempt to extort the star for $20 million. So they believe Jamie, quote unquote, was Jordan Chandler. His family is trying to extort Michael Jackson for $20 million. Okay. More than a decade later, however, Court TV reveals in 2004 report that Jackson settled suit for even more than that. So that's the part that's confusing. If they're trying to extort Jackson for $20 million, and Jackson says it's a bad thing, but you end up paying them over $20 million anyway, it's like, what are we talking about here, man? As part of the settlement, the singer denied any wrongful acts. So your complaint is trying to extort you for $20 million. You go to court and hire Johnny Cochran, you still pay them $20 million. It's like even more. In September 1994, prosecutors announced that they are not filing criminal charges against Jackson involving 3 boys because the primary alleged victim declined not to testify. This is Jordan Chandler, the kid. And there's many reasons for that. And look how many times women get abused by boyfriends, like boot, pimp down, stomp, and they don't testify against their boyfriend. So that doesn't mean much, as we know in today's society. In the course of the investigation and ensuing civil case, Jackson and his team put various young boys on the witness stand and in front of cameras. Now, this worked out for Jackson, Michael Jackson. Okay. The watcher said should have like this. Damn. MF, I ain't FK, no kids. Next question. Okay. So yeah, really, like he really ain't do himself any good with that. Okay, but this did him good though. The fact that kids came to testify for him against another kid claiming sexual molestation. So but other kids testified on Mike's behalf that they hung out with the guy for several months and it was just all like just friendship, just playing around, nothing sexual ever happened. So they testified against the one boy who was saying, "Hey man, some things happen." Yeah, okay. So on December 8th, at a press conference held while on tour in Tel Aviv, Jackson's estranged sister, Latoya Jackson, alleges run that back, Turbo. On December 8th, at a press conference held while on tour in Tel Aviv, Jackson's estranged sister, Latoya, alleges that the abuse accusations against Michael Jackson are true. This is Michael Jackson's biological sister, his young sister, I think she's the youngest or close, Latoya Jackson. She says, no, the boys are not lying. It's true. Mike did molest them. This is a quote. This is very difficult for me, she says, quote, Michael is my brother, but I cannot and I will not be a silent collaborator of his crimes against small innocent children. She claims that their mother, Catherine Jackson, has shown her checks that Michael Jackson allegedly made out to the families of some very young boys, at least one allegedly as young as 9 years old. She says that the amounts paid out were substantial, though she doesn't specify any sums. So according to Latoya Jackson, the mom already know Mike was paying these parents some hush money. Let's move on. One is 10-year-old Wade Robson, an Australian boy who first met the megastar 5 years earlier when he won a Michael Jackson dance contest in Brisbane. Within a few years, Robson had moved with his mother to Los Angeles with Jackson's encouragement. Gotta hurry up again coming on. In 1993, Robson's mother talked to CNN about her child's slumber parties with the singer. So the child had slumber parties with Michael Jackson, 10 years old. They played so hard, they fell asleep. They're exhausted. She tells them, the interviewer, there's nothing more to it than that. So no sexual contact. They just played and had fun and slept in the same bed. But again, like this is Michael Jackson. I gotta keep reminding you, this ain't Mike Tyson. This ain't Michael Jordan. This is Michael Jackson in your home. And not just kids loved him, parents did too. And he knew how to win the parents over. As I said before, when Michael Jackson chose your kid to have fun with, to spend a night over your house, to have them spend a night in Neverland, you are the lucky parent who literally won the lottery. Any debt you ever had is gone. Any car you wanted, he probably buying a damn supercar, but if you wanted like a little, a little something, a little Volvo, 2022 Volvo, he was getting that for you. If not, in a whole new house. Like, come on, if you had any damage in the house, bro, you got Michael Jackson interested in building a relationship with your kid, a friendship with your kid, your son. You hit the lottery. And then you're invited to VMA Awards, all types of shit, Michael Jackson. You're a superstar. And if this was the modern day era now, you'll be a celebrity from YouTube and social media and TikTok and shit. Come on. So parents can be delusional when they are starstruck. That's what I'm saying. And Leaving Neverland, that's a documentary. Robson says, I was excited by the idea of being able to defend him and being able to save him. See, little kid thinking like that because he was called to testify for Michael Jackson. This is a boy who later on will say Michael Jackson molested him, but he was called to testify on Michael Jackson's behalf against another kid saying Michael Jackson molested him. Okay, so Robson said, no, Mike's a great guy. He didn't do anything. And the way he said his role was he was defending a guy who he believed he was saving. But to said Bree's point, what kid can be cross-examined by hungry, mean prosecutors and survive? Because again, he would have to be lying, right? If he's saying Mike never touched any kid, Robson would be lying. And how did he get past hungry prosecutors who's trying to make a name of Michael Jackson? How did he get past that cross-examination? It's a great point. With lies. Like you can't even, a grown adult can't lie, let alone a damn 10-year-old. So yeah, so that part is interesting. In a follow-up interview with Today Show's Katie Couric, Latoya Jackson claims that their mother has shown her such checks as early as around 1984. Okay, Latoya said her mom showed her checks. However, she tells Couric she can't prove that the alleged checks were meant as hush money, nor has she ever seen them in bed with the boy herself. So she sees these big checks going towards these parents, but she don't believe but she can't prove it's hush money. It could be just a gift. That's why I'm saying, like, these See, that's my point. Michael Jackson is befriending these boys, and the parents of these boys, literally won the jackpot. What did I just say? Literally won the jackpot, the lottery, not pocket, the jackpot in the lottery. You dig? So yeah, nobody's surprised money's being sent to the parents. So and she said substantial amount. So do you think the kid gonna say, "Hey mom, Michael touched me"? Man, get your little ass back in the kitchen. Eat your damn food. Come on, Michael touched you. We got all this damn money in these houses, new house being built. What are you talking about, boy? Sit your ass, sit your silly. Don't you ever say that dumb shit again. Sit your ass down. Don't you ever say it to anybody else. Sit yourself down. Like, so it was like very much to gain from these parents. In 2011, in a second autobiography called Starting Over, LaToya Jackson retracted her allegations. So this is so many years later. She's broke now, allegedly. LaToya Jackson retracted her allegations against both her brother Michael and her father Joe, saying that she was forced to make them by her husband at the time, whom she accused of being abusive. So she retracted her statement. She said that, no, Mike never done that. I didn't see no checks. And my dad never sexually abused us. He did. So I gotta show it all. Okay? I gotta show it all. I gotta even show when she retracted. It's called honest journalism. Okay, so the documentary reported by journalist Martin Bashir includes footage of Jackson holding hands with and cradling a young teenager, then identified as a cancer survivor. So this is the latest. Well, this is the 2005 molestation case, and says that they share a bed. So he's in the bed with Michael. Both Jackson and the boy denied that anything untoward is going on. So again, like, just because a child or a woman of domestic violence says nothing happened with a black eye and a broken nose, that doesn't mean nothing happened. Like, why are we being retarded? Like, when somebody's being abused, but they believe the abuser loves them, and they make it, "Oh, I abuse you because I love you." Like, grown adults believe that. So why would a 10-year-old kid believe that? That's not just so far-fetched. Anyway, this is a quote, "My greatest inspiration comes from kids," Jackson says to Bashir while holding on to the child. "It's all inspired from the level of innocence, that consciousness of purity, end quote. After the documentary airs, Jackson issues a statement denying any wrongdoing and says that he is devastated by Bashir's portrayal of him. Nevertheless, living with Michael Jackson sparks a criminal investigation. 2 days after raiding Neverland, Jackson's famous ranch in Santa Barbara County, California, the sheriff's office arrests Jackson on charges of child molestation, but does not immediately disclose details of the charges or identify the victim. Jackson's lawyer, Mark Garagos, calls the charges a big lie after posing $3 million in bail the same day and surrendering his passport. Jackson is allowed to go free as he awaits trial. Jackson is eventually indicted on 10 criminal counts, including child molestation, abduction, false imprisonment, and extortion. Damn, extortion. After being charged in late 2003 and then giving additional charges the following April, Jackson is put on trial. The victim is identified as Gavin Arvizo. The young man who appeared in the Bashir documentary. He is among those who testify at the trial. Among those testifying in Jackson's defense are actor Macaulay Culkin and Wade Robinson. Now, I want y'all to pay attention. See, I'm going to give both sides. I'm not going to paint a one-sided narrative. This guy right here was the white gentleman. If y'all was here in the beginning, he's the white gentleman on the right side talking to Oprah Winfrey, how Michael Jackson molested him. Okay? So if Michael Jackson molested you, why are you here testifying on Michael Jackson's defense, okay, against another boy who is calling Michael molester by saying he molested him? Why are you on Michael Jackson's side saying, what are you talking about, Willis? He ain't touched nobody. He ain't touched me. And Macaulay Culkin said he ain't touched him. He's a great guy. He just had fun with us, played with us, and nothing ever happened. So what you talking about, Willis? Ain't that happened to you? So now Wade Robinson comes 20 years later to say Michael molested him. So it's really tricky, man. It's really all over the place here. A lot of questions more than answers, okay? By 2005, Robson is a noted choreographer and songwriter who has created dance routines for the likes of Britney Spears and NSYNC, and who had already has his own show on MTV. And my man got a whole show for being known as, never mind. All right, let's get rid of that. Okay, let's go here now. Now we're almost done. Nothing but videos on this point. No, I'm not doing this one. It's gonna take too long. Okay. So we just videos here on out. Short videos, clips. So this one I replayed. Come on, Michael.
You're going to make sure it doesn't happen again. I think
Now,
this
I
is
didn't play
really-
this part. All right, now this part might be a little humorous or something. You're gonna make sure you never have it again.
You're going to make sure it doesn't happen again. I think this is really the key thing people want to know, that there are not going to be more of these sleepovers in which people have to wonder.
Nobody wonders when kids sleep over at my house.
But are
Nobody
they
wonders.
over? Are you going to watch out for it now?
Watch out for
Just for
what?
the sake of the children and for
No,
everything
because
you've been through?
it's all moral.
Mike
and
said,
it's all,
no, I ain't watching nothing. We're gonna keep having these alleged freak offs. You dig? Ain't nothing gonna stop me. Or that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it, like, no, I'm not gonna stop having sleepovers because nothing is actually happening. There's no evidence of molestation. It's just you creeps who want to take me down for whatever weird reason. You dig? But I'm not gonna stop doing what I do with kids, impacting kids' lives and, you know, encourage them to be successful and promoting their careers. I'm not gonna stop doing that because you weirdos think I'm touching them. And only you think that, because there's no evidence of me touching them. And most of the kids that interact with me don't say I touched them. So I'm gonna continue what I'm doing. Y'all ain't gonna blow up my spot.
pure. I don't even think that way. It's not what's in my heart.
So you'll
I would
do it
never,
again?
ever do what again?
I mean, you'll have a child
Of
sleeping
course,
over.
they want.
Yes.
It's on the level of purity and love and just innocence.
You're Wesley. I said Wesley. I'm bugging. Let me just play.
It's complete
Elvis,
innocence.
press.
If you're talking
Word.
about sex, and that's a nut. That's not me. Go to the guy down the street because it's not Michael Jackson. It's not what I'm interested in.
Now that sounds suspect. To go down the street. What are you talking about, Michael?
Because it's not Michael Jackson. Innocence. If you're talking about sex, and that's a nut. That's not me. Go to the guy down the street because it's not.
Why we gotta go down the street? How about nobody's down the street is into that, Michael? How about there's nobody into it? Not you, the guy down the street. How about everybody just normal? Why I gotta be the guy down the street?
Not Michael Jackson. It's not what I'm interested in.
You're going to make sure it doesn't happen again. I think this is really
Is
the
what
key
over?
thing people want to know, that
Eliminate that. Okay, so now we're getting somewhere. No. You know what? I ain't got time for that. This is a good one. Yes, I think we're gonna be done. After this video,
Michael Jackson was one of the most famous people on the planet.
Nancy O'Dell
Turns
is
out
off.
he was
Michelle
also
Turner
the
is here
target
with me. All right, let's start with Michael Jackson.
of
According
intensive
to
FBI
reports,
scrutiny.
attorneys are claiming the late superstar spent $200 million.
The police were so
to
concerned
silence
about the media
several
circus
alleged victims.
surrounding
The
the
reports also
2005
claim
Michael
Wade-
Jackson's child molestation trial.
where's that coming
They
from? Where's that coming from? Okay, all right, let's get some order here.
asked the FBI to assess whether it was a soft target for
Okay, let's go.
Robson and James Safechuck, two men in their 30s, are threatening to release a wealth of evidence. This could do what no other prosecutor has been able to do, show that Jackson violated young boys and paid to keep them quiet.
Tonight's top story, Michael Jackson's accusers, quiet no more.
We're talking about mind-boggling amounts of money.
What the victims are trying to claim here is, listen,
Michael Jackson shut people up, not just one person, not just two people, not just three people, but many, many, many people.
The claims of hush money reportedly amount to $200 million for 20 victims. An attorney for the Jacksons estate today
$200 million. Goddamn.
Today called that figure ludicrous. Still, the reports come as two purported victims, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, head to court against the estate. Both men are now fathers in their 30s.
Mr. Jackson?
That's Safechuck when he was just 8, working on a Pepsi commercial with the King of Pop.
Looking for me?
He allegedly engaged in a wedding ceremony with this young boy.
Jane Velez Mitchell covered Jackson's molestation trial, and Robin Sachs is a former LA prosecutor.
There's been previous inconsistent statements that have been made by both of these parties.
He sexually abused me from 7 years old until 14.
Robson called Jackson a pedophile in 2013. But the choreographer was actually a key witness in the singer's successful defense against child molestation charges in 2005.
But you defended him against the same thing you're accusing him. Interesting. That doesn't look good.
I learned so much from him as an artist and as a kind human being.
In 2 ET interviews, he supported Jackson.
It was like a family member.
Yeah.
And that's all it was.
But Robson changed his story, claiming he felt the need to come forward after
That's no suspect, right? He on record saying, nah, ain't not happened. He was just like, he was cool with us. He was a friend, big brother. Now all of a sudden, he's big little Chuck.
This thing happened where I started looking at him and imagining him being a victim of the sexual abuse that I was at the hands of Michael.
Totally false.
Jackson always vehemently denied molesting children.
Don't treat me like a criminal.
If I would hurt a child, I would slit my wrists.
I think the thing that makes this case really interesting is you have all of these prior trials that could play out in one big trial here. You're going to see sound bites from interviews. You're going to see all kinds of evidence where we will see what Michael Jackson would say to these allegations.
This is all about money. All about money on both sides. If Michael Jackson's reputation is tarnished to the point where people don't want to hear his music, that's going to hurt the estate.
Last video. Now I wouldn't personally put too much stock in Candace, what's her name, Owens, because she is, she's a bit of a quack. She's a bit of a quack at sometimes. Not everything she says is quacky, but she is known to say quacky stuff. So here we go. And her claim in this one is a little quacky because I want to hear the follow-up.
Jordan Chandler did this. And it makes you wonder, like, how could you do this to your dad? I mean, like, your poor old man, that must have been a really tough decision for Dr. Evan Chandler to stand up to the King of Pop and all his power and all his fandom and to say, hey, he molested my child and it wasn't on my watch. My wife is remarried and he shouldn't have even been having sleepovers. You would think that Jordan would adore his father for having done this. And then you find out that when he turned 16, he filed a restraining order against his dad because his dad tried to beat him with a weight. What's really going on? Well, certainly, again, like I said, at least it was courageous that his dad made these allegations against Michael Jackson, because this is sickening, it is disgusting, and it's not like his dad drugged him into making this sort of an allegation. Oh my gosh, actually, he did.
All right, now I need extraordinary claims, extraordinary proof. Okay, she claims she got the proof.
Father, Dr. Evan Chandler, did in fact drug his child into making the allegation about Michael Jackson.
That's a hell of a claim. I never heard that before other than her saying it.
Read you directly from an article about what Dr. Evan Chandler did.
Now, the video stopped short right there. I would love to see that information. But that's weird that she has it, because I researched this like crazy. I ain't never come across that. Okay, so anyway, that's it, man. We out. Weezy. Peace.